giving you the real from A to Z surrounding the Dallas Cowboys. News, updates, rumors, transactions, takes, and more. So strap up, Cowboys Nation, and start your day off with A to Z Sports. Live with Will Steele.
3, 2, 1.
Here we go. Oh, yeah. Friday. Good morning, good people. Welcome to A to Z Sports Live, streaming live here at Skywalker Studios. We on YouTube, we on Facebook, and of course, I am your host, Will Skywalker Steele. Boom! It's Friday, baby. Let's go! Coming up today, we jumping back into the mailbag, man. Y'all were so fantastic with the questions. We're going to run them all. Every last single one of the YouTube questions from yesterday during the post, we are going to talk about them today. So it'll be a pretty decent sized show today unless we just run straight through them. Also in the roundup, I've got the stat of the week as well as the Cowboys adding some more competition to a room that needed the competition. But good morning, Bomb Squad. How y'all doing?
Bomb Squad!
What's goody, man? I had to pay some respects to natural disasters. Rest in peace to earthquakes. So I rocked them today. I mean, been passed away, but you know how I am about my old school wrestling. So I had to rock that today, man. What's up with y'all? We got a Friday show. I saw somebody say, man, I didn't think you'd be here. No. We're gonna rock out the rest of the week because I am off all of next week for my probably one and only vacation break until we get to the end of next season or off season or what have you. So we got to rock it today, man. We got to have a good one today. If you want to call into the show, please do. 351-999-3787 is the call in line. And yeah, like I said, man, it might be a decent sized show today. If not, all good. It is the weekend. It is Friday. So you probably just got paid and going to have a good weekend, man. So let's get into this thing. Let's hit this roundup, right? Let's hit this roundup. Look, there's this stat that I really want to get into. I don't want it to take up the whole entire show, but it goes back to a lot of the things we were talking about last week and the previous weeks on this show. So stick around for that at the end of the roundup. Professor O, yes, sir. You will be down here in a few weeks. We'll definitely have to connect. My boys will be here again. So it's at the Star this year, right, Professor O? So if it's at the Star, we'll definitely be down there for sure. So we'll definitely link up, my guy. All right, let's get to this roundup, y'all, and have a good show, man.
It's time! It's time! It's time! It's time!
Time.
It's time!
Time?
It is time for...
It's time for the morning roundup. Round 'em up, boys.
Oh, they do it! Hey, oh, they do it!
Hey, yo. The Cowboys signed their kicker. But it's not Robbie Gould. It's not Mason Crosby. It's not Ryan Suckup. It's Brandon Aubrey of the USFL, who won, or I shouldn't say won, but it was part of the all USFL honors over there the last season, I believe. I believe it was last season, actually. Nonetheless, I think they won a championship this season with him at kicker. So who is Brandon Aubrey? If you are one of those who are into college or high school, big time here in Texas, you're probably familiar with the kid. He is from the area, I believe Plano area. Then he went and played at Notre Dame, and he also has a soccer background. So, like I said, in 2022, he made the all USFL. And this past season, which I believe just concluded, he was 14 of 15 on field goals, and he made all 35 of his extra points. Well, Scott, how does he look? I don't know. I'm not going to sit here and fake the funk. I didn't watch a single lick of USFL this year, bro. So I have no idea how this kid's leg looks. We'll have to go check him out at some point, but I'd rather it be, once we get to camp or what have you. But let's kind of revisit how the Cowboys do these things here with these kickers over the last couple seasons. Last year, they came in to camp with Garibay and Hallelujah competing, right? This year, it was just Vizcaino until they signed Aubrey. Very similar to them signing Hallelujah. So Garibay and Hallelujah competed. They didn't like the way Garibay kicked. He was not that good, frankly. And they cut him, and that's when they signed Brett Maher. So the Cowboys have shown that if you ain't working out, whether it be Vizcaino, whether it be Aubrey, if it's not working out, they will go out and they will go get a veteran kicker. So I don't know what this kid's going to do or how he's going to look, if his leg is a booming leg, if he's more accurate than booming. But let me tell you all I care about. Make the kicks when we need you to make the kicks. And don't miss 5 extra points in the playoffs. I'm sorry. I can't get over that just yet. I would imagine he can kick the ball off, because I know that's a thing that people are worried about for Robbie Gould, who he did kick the ball off a ton last year, but he's not a Brett Maher in regards to leg strength. But again, I can care less about how strong your leg is if you're going to miss kicks when it matters the most in the playoffs, the way that, he missed those kicks. It was haunting, honestly. And you can say, well, Sky just got PTSD. You're probably right. I probably do have PTSD. So I'm interested to see if another kicker can come in here and stamp their claim. I would love for Dallas to run into a situation where they have another Dan Bailey or, Justin Tucker, where the Cowboys don't have to worry about a kicker for 5-6 years. But ever since Dan Bailey has kind of tailed off, it's been every other year they're trying to find a kicker. And may seem like a small deal, man, but how many times over the years did we run into kicker problems? 2021, you could argue we've lost 3 or 4 games because Zerline was missing kicks. 2022, you could argue we won a couple games because Maher was making those kicks. And then in the playoffs, he had that situation where he had the yeeps, as Jerry Jones would say. So I don't think this kicker situation is finalized just yet. Not until we get down there at camp and they have this kicking competition, and then they get out in preseason and they have the kicking competition. I'll give it, 3 games this year? When did Brett came game 2? I'll give it 1 game. I'll give it the start of training camp and 1 game. If none of these guys are separating, they will call another kicker in here. I'm pretty sure of that. So, scouring the Twitter's verse or Twitter sphere, found this stat from Warren Sharp. It's actually multiple stats. Stat of the week. The Dallas Cowboys were 3rd in the NFL in first down runs to gain 2 or fewer yards. To boot, they were 23rd in the NFL in early down pass rate in the first half. I think you can attribute this to a multitude of things. You can look at it as a lack of a true purpose in the run game. We talk about that a lot. You can look at this as, Zeke fans, close your ears, Ezekiel Elliott being the lead back as a worn down type of guy, right? After the first few weeks, he starts to wear down, and that's just facts over the last 3.5 years. That's not me coming at Ezekiel Elliott, but Zeke just wears down. And when he's your lead back, that's what's going to happen sometimes, right? And this also can be contributed to them just trying to hit a quota. And I say them, I'm talking about Kellen, but just trying to hit a quota as opposed to being detailed and obsessive and being efficient in the run game. And I use those words carefully because that's what it really sounds like. McCarthy and Solari and pardon me, I cannot remember the running backs coach name. I forget his name. I got me out here. Blasco, I think it is now. And Schottenheimer. I think these guys are going to be obsessive and detailed in trying to be efficient in the run game. Let me give you some references here. The 2 Super Bowl winning teams, and I like to do this every year. I say, well, what did those Super Bowl teams do, whether it be from a front office standpoint, personnel standpoint, on field, X's and O's standpoint? When you look at Philly and Kansas City, they had the least amount of first down carries that gained 2 or fewer yards in the league. The least. Philly, very detailed and obsessive in being efficient in the run game. As for Kansas City, they might not be known to being a run team, but this is why I urge to kind of watch and look at the film. They're very much detailed and obsessive in how to be efficient schematically. You'll never mistake an Andy Reid for being a 40 carry, 35 carry a game type of guy. But Andy Reid is one of the best offensive minds in this league. And that's why I always use KC as an example for those that say, you can't just run the ball to be efficient. You got to run it 35 times and set a tone. Yes, you can. You can actually do both. You don't have to be this 1992 team where, well, because, a Cowboy stat. Well, the Cowboys, the only time they're winning is when they run the ball 35 times or something like that. Dude, they can win the ball game running 25 to 28 times if they are efficient in doing so. But I'm not banging my head against the wall just to hit this number, this magical number y'all think there is out there for the Dallas Cowboys. I don't think that's necessarily the case because you're ruling out all context within said games. So if the Cowboys can become detailed and obsessive in being efficient, I 100% think they could be even better as a run team. And we talked about this a few days ago. Volume numbers, it looks fine. But when you actually break it all down, and this is one of those, second or third in the league in first down carries of 2 or fewer yards gained. There's nothing good about that. That actually puts you in way worse situations for your quarterback. To boot, if y'all remember, during the season, there was a point in time, I don't know how they finished. The Cowboys were also one of the worst teams in running on first down, not gaining a lot of yards, and then running the damn get on second down. So, and I think a lot of that had to do with Kellen Moore just wanting to hit a number. And I'm gonna put a little heat on McCarthy, because McCarthy wanted Kellen to hit a number, but I think he wanted it to be done in a different way. He just didn't have, in my opinion, the power to, and that sounds crazy as hell as a head coach, but I just believe that's the case. I don't think he had the power to change the way that they were running. He could say, hey, Kellen, we need to hit this number. Kellen, you know how Kellen. All right. And the game we talk about a lot is that Texans game when they ran the ball something like 12, 13 times in a row. It wasn't pretty. It wasn't clever, creative, nothing. It was just, we just going to run the ball so we can hit this number. And that's what happened. And you could kind of see that happening through the back half of the year. And it just never, and shout out to, damn, who was it on Get Up this morning? Hawkins. Man, you can tell when these, and again, I don't want to go back to these networks, but when these networks want to hit a low-hanging fruit and they have an actual football mind on, and they just completely sideswipe them with football talk. And I think it was the host that this morning was like, well, yeah, that's a good explanation, but back to the low-hanging fruit, as opposed to diving into what Hawk was talking about. But that's neither here nor there. There was nuance to this. There was context to this, and those details to this, I think, is what's going to make the Cowboys' offense and run game more efficient and better, in my opinion. And I digress. Yeah, I think you got, so Toxic, did you see what I was talking about, man? Hawk hit him with some real football talk, and they really couldn't handle it. He's like, oh, man, yeah, that makes sense, but Dak Prescott. Well, that makes sense, but Mike McCarthy. No, talk about why it made sense and see if you can tie it back into, but that's neither here nor there, man. That's neither here nor there. Yeah, a big fan of Hawk as well, Professor. I'm actually trying to, I've reached out to him and another, I forget the other dude's name. He's actually a intern coach this summer for the Cowboys, but we'll see if we can get him on the show. All right, so let me see. Let's get into the chat before we get to this mailbag. Cause CJ said, let's not go into the season saying when the Cowboys run the ball 25 times, we are whatever. And yeah, it's the, again, low hanging fruit statistic, Man, when a lot of teams run the ball, I think it was like 32, 35. If you're running the ball that many times in a game and you're not some bottom feeder team, usually that means you're leading and you're closing out these games running the ball, etc. There's so much more context to it. I don't feel like doing a whole entire show on it. Not right now. Maybe at another point. But we often get extremely lazy. Cowboys are 79,000-0 when they run the ball 42. Like, there's so much in between that. Man. I know they don't, Too Broke. I know they don't. All right, with that said, let's go ahead and hit this roundup. And I'm sorry, hit this mailbag, because there's a lot of questions here, and I want to get to all of them because I couldn't narrow it down to 4 or 5 questions. Y'all had some really good stuff here, and I want to get to all y'all stuff. So let's go ahead and do that.
It's time!
It's time.
It is time for
Mail time.
The mail's here.
You've got mail.
All right, Zotan. Been asking some good questions over the last few weeks, man. Shout out to you. Zotan says, this should be Tyron Smith's last ride as a starter. How does the team make that happen? Well, I don't think the team is going to really have much say in or need to have much say in that, Zotan. Because what's going to happen is he's going to be the starter and he'll likely get injured. And if he gets injured, even if he doesn't, let's just be honest, it's probably his last ride. But I don't necessarily think there needs to be anything crazy to happen. They restructured his contract to the tune of it being essentially a 1-year deal. So, Zotan, I believe this will be his last ride. Shout out to The Undertaker. Y'all know about that. If y'all don't, get familiar. Quan Webb. Quan says, and I'm gonna break this down a bit here. 6 out of 53 spots are locked. 3 quarterbacks, the kicker, punter, long snapper. Let me just stop you right there. I don't agree with that part. First of all, I think there are way more than 6. There's probably closer to the 47 than the 6. First of all, kicker is not locked. Kicker, they just brought in a kicker to compete, and as we saw last year, a kicker could potentially be brought back in again. Now, if you want to say punter, long snapper, yeah, that's probably locked. But I think there are way more positions that are locked here, for sure. But we'll continue with the question. With only 47 positions up for grab, what position group do you see gaining / losing roster spots? This one is tough to answer in July 7th, before training camp and preseason, because a lot of the numbers game, a lot of the roster gymnastics that they're going to have to do, it's going to be about competition. It's going to be about competition. So if a cornerback just goes berserk and they don't want to go short at cornerback, they go long there, they go short at receiver. Let's just throw it in. If Neville snaps, right, because he's a guy we got on the hot seat. If Neville just snaps out and they say, man, we can't cut Neville Gallimore. We don't want to trade him. We want to cut him. We want to keep him. Well, they go longer at defensive tackle. Maybe they go shorter at running back. What if they go 4 running backs, including Lipke, and they only go 3? So it's too early, I think. It all depends on who is balling and who is not. Flat out. Tuck Matt, what you was wrong, Sky, what? You guys got to be more specific. I had a guy in the comments said, stop reaching. On what, sir? Stop reaching on what, man? We not one of them shows. Let's see here. Only like 9 positions up for grab. I mean, that's basically what I was saying. I don't think there are 47 positions up for grab. I think there's way more positions locked than 3 quarterbacks, a kicker, and a punter and long snapper for sure. Michael says, I'm not really concerned about the roster count at this point. Teams have right to release and sign players as they see fit. Concerned. I don't not really use the word concerned, but there's going to be roster gymnastics is what Quan is equating to. So he's trying to ask, what position groups are going to be long, or going to be short. I just think it's way too soon, way too early to know, because there's going to be competitions at different groups. Going to be competitions. Outlaw CA Outlaw California, I think is what that is. If Dak does not perform well this year, will he be on his way out? I think there needs to be context. If he doesn't perform well in the playoffs, say he has another San Fran game where you're healthy, let's say your team is healthy, line is healthy, play call has been great all year. He goes out there and he throws 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions, a drive-killing game or something. Yeah, there's going to be conversations about being on his way out. There's just no denying that, right? So, I mean, I think that's an easy answer without context. But if this is a situation in playoffs where he pretty much is what he's been outside of San Fran, any other team, not San Fran, and he plays well, then no. I mean, there won't even be a conversation. But you didn't give enough context. Is it not play well in the regular season or postseason? Because what if which he hasn't really been for the most part, but average in the regular season and then goes crazy in the postseason? I don't think anybody cares about the regular season, right? And then flip it around. If he goes berserk in the regular season, gets to the division round, plays like shit, no one's going to care about the regular season. So if he does not perform well, to help you out here in the playoffs, will he be on his way out? I mean, I think they're going to have those conversations for sure. Yeah. All right, let's get to 931, who called into the phone pretty early on this one. What's good, 931? How you doing, man?
Yo, what's up, Sky?
What's up with you?
I'm from Nashville. I was just calling in to say I've been watching your show for a while and appreciate all you do. And it's a great show. I watch you and Vaughn every day and just love the show. I ain't really got much to say right now, but I just wanted to call in for the first time, say I love the show and everything.
Hey, man, I appreciate that a ton, dog. We wouldn't be what we are without y'all, man. You say you're from Nashville?
Yes, sir. Nashville.
So our parent company is out of Nashville, A to Z Sports Nashville. Do you happen to see them sometimes out there? Just curious.
No, I haven't seen them out there. I went to the Dallas game last season up there, but no, I didn't see nobody up there. I know that the A to Z Nashville, but I don't really watch them much.
Yeah.
Dallas fan.
Yeah, I don't expect you to because you're tired. But I know they do they host, or they used to. I'm not sure where they do it now. You know how we host the pregame show at Texas Live? They do something similar over there across the street. So I didn't know how.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I didn't know if you guys ran into them or not, something like that. But look, A to Z Nashville, A to Z Dallas. We both appreciate your support, big dog.
Yeah, thank you, man. Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good one.
You too, man. Have a good weekend. Let's get straight to Jake the Great, because he's gonna give it to us straight. What's good, Jake?
Yo, Skywalker, what's happening, man? Bomb Squad, good morning.
Good morning, good morning.
Boy, Skywalker, boy. You know, men lie, women can lie, but numbers don't never lie, boy. When you gave them stats just now about Zeke, man, them stats hit me like a ton of bricks, man. I'm like, whew.
Well, it wasn't just Zeke. It was, he's a part of it, but I wouldn't put it all on him. But, yeah, he's definitely a part of that.
Right. No, but you know what I'm saying? The main reason I wanted to call, I just want to say a thank you again, man, because, you know, the off season is terribly long. You know what I'm saying? And I appreciate what you do. You know what I'm saying? You come in every day with that great energy. You know what I'm saying? You start the morning off good for me. And you know what I'm saying? You keep the long season entertaining, man. So appreciate you again and enjoy your vacation, dog. That's, you know what I'm saying? That's all I got for the day.
Appreciate
have a
that,
great
Jake.
day. Jake the Great, I'm out.
Appreciate that, Dre. You know, let me bring this back here. You don't really realize how long the damn offseason is when this is your full-time job, because you're getting up, you love what you do, obviously, and you're doing it. But when you take a step back and you're like, damn, September, a couple of months away, we got a long way to go, man. But we'll make it through. We'll make it through for sure, man. I got another caller. Just hold tight. I want to get to some more of these questions. We got a hell of a lot of questions, man. So let's just jump straight back into it. Gregory? Yeah, Gregory's up next. Gregory says, and let me open this up a little bit more here. Okay. Should the Cowboys play Tyron in selected games? Part-time Tyron here. Play him in games like San Francisco, Philadelphia, Buffalo, and rest him in games like the Jets, Washington, and the Panthers. That way he should be rested for a full playoff run. I remember when Vaughn brought this up, kind of speaking tongue in cheek. I don't think he was playing all the way. About a year or two ago, I was like, man, look, that ain't a bad idea. It'll never happen. But now when Tyron can't make it out of training camp last year, when he's missed 50 something games, or what has it been, y'all? Not 50 something, but he's missed 30 something games out of 50 something over the last 3 seasons. You start to question, should that man be a part-time player? But this ain't basketball, you know. An offensive line, you gotta have cohesion. It's weird because I'm not against this, Gregory, to be honest, bro. I'm not, man. He's the type of player that's been around this league for a long time. He's been around this quarterback, this offensive line, these players, where you probably could pull this off. You probably could. We don't know when these type of injuries will happen, when an injury will happen. The evidence says one will. So what if, for instance, Buffalo, right? We play Buffalo what week? Let's pull it up here. Let's get to it. Cowboys play Buffalo week like 14 or something like that. Where we at here? Week 15. So what if it happens week 15? Now he's done for the playoffs or something like that. So you kind of can't play the scary game, although I would not be opposed to it. If they came out and said, hey, man, we're going to part-time Tyron, you probably wouldn't even hear me complain about it, Cowboys Nation, because, you know, Tyron Smith is bound to miss probably about 6 games this year. It used to be 3. You used to guarantee, okay, Tyron's going to miss 3 games. You can live with it. He hadn't just missed 3 games since 2018, 19, something like that. So it's been a long time since he missed just 3 games. He's going to miss about 5-6 games. Usually how it goes, man. Carlos Holloway. Do you see any free agents, undrafted free agents, I should say, potentially making the 53-man roster? Appreciate you, Los, the other Los. We talked about this a long time ago, and y'all know me, I can't fake the funk. I was confident in one guy, and we'll get to that guy a little bit later if somebody asks a question about him, but Hunter Lipke is like the only undrafted free agent I feel very, very confident in stamping his name on this roster. Now, there's guys I like. There's the Moreno Croppers I really like. There's the Isaiah Lands. There's a lot of guys, CJ. There's a whole bunch of guys I like, but their route to make the roster, that might have to be a show. Their route to make the roster is a lot tougher than a guy like Hunter Lipke, in my opinion. For obvious reasons, Hunter Lipke plays a position where there's really no other competition, fullback. But he also presents versatility to be a running back in a room that's not necessarily, after Tony Pollard, there's no guarantee. So I think it's easy to see a place for Hunter Lipke, a path for Hunter Lipke to make this roster. Everybody else, if you're a receiver, man, you fighting an uphill battle. If you're a cornerback, you're fighting an uphill battle. Safety, nada. Probably not happening. You could maybe look at a position like linebacker where you can fight your way on. A guard, you can probably fight your way on. But these things aren't going to be easy for these dudes. So I got one dude right now I can see making the 53-man roster from an undrafted free agent standpoint. But they've had multiple guys over the last 3 or 4 years do it. So it's probably going to be more than one. just gotta wait it out, man, because this roster is not a roster that's going to be easy to crack, in my opinion. I don't see it happening. Now I know y'all like a lot of players, but because I want to get back to the chat here. Aside from Hunter Lipke, is there a player you have confidence, undrafted free agent, that you have confidence that can make this roster? I know TJ Bass is a guy that gets a lot of love as undrafted free agent because he plays a position the Cowboys could use some depth, and that's guard. But for other dudes like Miles Brooks and Moreno Cropper, it's hard. I don't see them making this roster right now, barring injury, because of the depth. Here go Toxic Tom talking about Ryan. No, man. Anybody else? Am I tripping here just having one guy? When in years it's been, was it 4 last year? It was 4 guys that made this roster last year on the team. Yeah, Durden, the Western Florida, what happened? Wide receivers getting a lot of love too. Yeah, Isaiah Land. See, and what is he gonna do? Is he gonna play backer? Because if Isaiah Land could play backer, right, which is weird to see him kind of translate to just pure backer. Maybe have to be more of a versatile guy because he's a pass rush dude. I mean, I like Isaiah Land coming forward. Then a guy like maybe Devin Harper could be in trouble because Devin Harper doesn't offer really that versatility. I think he's probably your least versatile guy in the room. Now think about it. Probably your least versatile guy in the room. So maybe a Devin Harper could be in trouble, but he's a draft pick. They're going to give him a longer leash. He's a draft pick. Interesting. I don't see too many names. And that'll be something that'll be different for the Cowboys. They usually have a bunch of dudes about a handful, I should say, undrafted guys make this team that I don't see it happening right now. All right, let's hit the phone. 479. What's good? What it is? What it do?
Hey, man. How you doing?
I'm doing fantastic, man. How are you?
I'm good. My name's Roland. I live up here in Fayetteville, Arkansas. I've been listening to you for a while, but I'm a school teacher, so I always listen in the afternoon. Never get to hear you live, so I'm excited to.
Oh, you're good
to hear
now,
you
Roland. Them badass kids is out for the summer now. You're good.
Now I've got my 2 own, so I got a baby sitting on my lap, so hopefully he won't scream. But
it's all good, man.
I went back the other day. I watched the K-State Texas game, and so I've been wanting to just ask this question. I watched Deuce Vaughn smoke Overshawn pretty much the whole game, and I know Overshawn's a good coverage guy. So my question is, does that say more about Overshawn, or do you just think Deuce is that guy?
I do think Deuce is that guy. There's a slight vertically challenged bias in me, where I'm rooting for my short brethren to do his thing, but remove the bias, man. Just look at the production against Power 5 schools. Look at his production in general in college. Like he's not some. I don't want to diminish gadget guys or satellite guys. He'll likely play a gadget satellite type role. But it would not shock me if Deuce Vaughn, put himself in position to be an RB2 or have a real role on his team. I think he's like that. Overshawn has some good plays against him too. I know you watched that game, but I'm sure you've seen him have a couple hits on him as well. But in coverage, as good as Overshawn is in coverage, that's a tough matchup. If you get 1-on-1 and he got a 2-way go on like a Y route. That's tough for anybody to deal with because he's so quick. So I think it says more about Deuce Vaughn than it would say in a negative way about Overshawn.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. I'm excited. I just hope better than Kellen did. I think McCarthy hopefully knows how to use Vaughn in that Darren Sproles role where I think actually my prediction is he'll have more receiving yards this year than he will rushing yards.
I like that. I actually like that. Because if you look at when they first drafted him, and things can change, over the next couple months, but the name he brought up wasn't Darren Sproles, even though that's what we all believe it'll end up being like. It was Randall Cobb. And Randall Cobb was a receiver. Not saying that Deuce is going to be a receiver. But, you know, if you go back and look how they used Cobb early on, Randall Cobb was lined up everywhere in the backfield, in the slot, out wide. He was moved around. And that was with another running back on the field, or he was the only guy on the field. So, you know, there could be some instances where you see a Tony Pollard, Deuce Vaughn on the field at the same time, or Deuce Vaughn is in the backfield, then he goes out in the slot, or you know, he's lined up right outside of the tackle, and you see him getting into some mismatch options with a linebacker or a safety. So I don't think that's a terrible prediction, honestly.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate your time. Love your show. Keep up the good work, man. Thank
you, man. Appreciate it. And look, man, I know how tough it is out there nowadays for teachers. So I appreciate what you're doing for the future of this country.
Well, thank you. I love it. Wouldn't do anything else.
All right, brother. Boy, look, I'll be seeing these videos on the internet. Look, y'all have all my respect. Now, there's some teachers out there that's wild, but y'all have all my respect because these little heathens now, I wouldn't have the patience for it. I got patience with my boys, but patience for other people's kids being disrespectful and it'd be something like this.
Breaking news, Skywalker still arrested for assaulting a 12-year-old bully at the middle school up in North Dallas, Texas.
Not happening. I'm rock bottoming these little kids. They swinging on teachers. They swooping them. If y'all know what swooping means, is jumping them. They shutting doors on their arm. I saw one teacher didn't do nothing. She just said, man, you got to go close the door. Pulled the teacher by the hair and she fell back, tore both her ACLs. She did the Scorpio thing. Yeah, nah, bro. What's that meme? What's Cuba Gooding Jr. coming out? I'm coming out to school like this. Yep. You better call your dad. You're not going to just drop kick me in school and I'm just, nah, man. Y'all getting stunned out here. Facts, look. Soon as they be like, man, you, Mr. Skywalker. What? They getting stunned out here, dog. But no, in all seriousness, look, appreciate what y'all do out here, teachers. Los, what's good, man?
Good morning, Sky. My bad. I had always muted
all
for a
good.
real quick second.
All good. What's up, Los?
Hey, happy Fan Friday, man. Getting closer. 8 more weeks till finally some football. Crazy to believe that, but
damn, 8 weeks.
Hey,
great.
Yeah, time doesn't stop, man, and that's one thing about it. We just got to keep up with it. So real quick, Sky, I think y'all were hitting it on a note on our past conversations about the O-line. I just one question for you, Sky, and one in particular. I think last year we couldn't really see, him at all because, he was injured throughout the whole year. But what's your thoughts on Matt Waletzko? Because I'm not trying to be too high on him, Sky, but I feel like if Tyron Smith goes down, he's gonna have to step up big. If we're gonna have to, keep the O line solidified. Because if we move Tyler, if we keep Tyler at left tackle, right, then we're gonna have to fix the left guard position, and then all this musical chairs and nonsense. My plan of attack would be if Waletzko can be the left side, you can put Waletzko left tackle, Tyler inside, Biotish, Zach Martin, and you got Steele. And I just want your thoughts on that because I think this year, I know we ask for a lot of rookies, especially Cowboys, to kind of like step up their game. And I just want to give your thoughts. Do you think Waletzko can do that? And that's all, Sky. And you have a great Friday. God bless your family and keep up doing the great work.
Hey, man, appreciate you, Los. Good stuff. Yeah, we brought up Waletzko the other day. And, I used to say this a lot prior to the Tyler Smith edition. The Cowboys' most important player on offense, not named quarterback, was the swing tackle. How the hell was it backup the most? Because there was times throughout the years, whether it be when Tony was here, early in Dak's years, when Tyron Smith was out, the Cowboys had trouble out there on that left side. And I don't necessarily know that we're back to the swing tackle being the most important position outside the quarterback, but it is an extremely important position on the line. So, I said there's something there, with Matt Waletzko. I think there is a upside and a ceiling to him being a swing tackle. I'm not ready to go past that just yet. There's a lot, we have to see how strong he got, if he's gotten better technique wise, but he definitely has the agility, the feet. I think the drive and want to, but we got to see how he progresses. He's a 5th round pick out of North Dakota. He's not going to come in day one and be that guy. It just isn't. So I think there's something there. We'll know more about it though here in the next couple of weeks, though, Los. For sure. Let's get back into this mailbag because our teach from Arkansas, he brought up a great segue here. Mob Life 23. Shout out to you. He said, do you think we need to get Deuce Vaughn caught up to speed to be a big threat for us this year? I think they should just work him in a specific role this year. Unless injuries happen or he just goes crazy and you have to, get him, he's your RB2, like I said on the phone with the guy. I think he actually has the chops to potentially be that. There's this, he's fighting an uphill battle. There's not too many 5'5" guys, 5'6" guys, $180 that are 15 carry type dudes. But I don't think he needs to be that game in, game out. Can he be that for you a few games? I believe he can. I do. But I think he can be a threat for you. I think the Cowboys, we call them the explosives. I think he is part of the explosives. And what I don't want to happen is we get back to when Tony Pollard was a young buck and we're screaming, although I don't know if it'll be this egregious, but we're screaming for Tony Pollard to get the ball because we were starting to see, the carries kind of pile up on an Ezekiel Elliott where he needed help. It wasn't that Zeke still couldn't be good for you. It was, hey, man, help Zeke out by giving this dude the ball. Now, early on, maybe there was some pushback from Zeke as a competitor. You don't want to give up carries. He admitted to that. But you're the coach. Overrule that shit because you should be able to see that, hey, Zeke is getting a bit worn. We done gave him 17,000 carries the first 3 years of his career. We drafted this 4th round stud back that can do a lot of things for a reason. Why are we not using him? So I don't think that'll be the case for TP in the sense of, oh man, we gave him too many carries. He's getting worn down. He still hasn't received a lot of carries for a 4-year running back. So he should have plenty of juice, but that doesn't mean you want to wear him down in that manner. So I still think there will be a cry for Deuce Vaughn to be involved in this offense as an explosive player. And look, what if Rojo or Lipke, and we'll get to that in a second, are guys that can handle the short yardage stuff, then let Deuce and TP split time as explosives. I don't see what's wrong with that. But that's just me. Toxic Tom, who is, YouTube does this thing now. Hostile Toxic Tom. That's his YouTube name now. With the hiring of John Park, do you see Dallas using more analytics for in-game decisions and adjustments? I thought about this question and I just came away with the conclusion that I don't think they'll do more or less than what they've done. I think the idea of bringing in a guy like this at this position is to just be better. That's all I can really, because I don't know how much they're using these things in game, like at that time. I think they go into these games already having an idea of trends and analytics and using that from the week and making their decision. I don't think it'll change from that. There's been a healthy conversation about John Park in a positive way. He was the same job title per se over there in Indianapolis. So I don't know how much John Park is going to help in-game decisions and adjustments. I think it'll be about the same. You just hope that they're better with it, which I don't necessarily think. How many people were crying and whining about Mike McCarthy's management last year? Year one, was it year one? Year two. There was some griping. Last year, I didn't hear that too much. It was more so about the play calling. But time management, calling timeouts and things like that, he didn't call plays. So we didn't really get on him about the play calling. We got on him about the game management the previous year. I didn't really see that too much. So I think he maybe took a step in the right direction there. But as for adjustments, I don't know. I don't know if analytics is gonna help adjustments, but in-game decisions, that's usually what that's for. Hey man, look, we've ran 3rd and 1 in this formation 25 times this year. We've been successful 98% of the time. Let's run that play. Or they line up in this formation 72% of the time. When the team comes out and trips right, it's been successful 6-8. Let's run a different play. Like those type of things are probably coming to play, but I don't know how much more or less it's going to be. It's just no one knows the exact amount of what this guy does. And I'm not going to act like I do. Fernando, how much do you think Jalen Tolbert can contribute to this receiving core? It's crazy because Jalen Tolbert can take a step in the right direction. He can get better this year and not be that productive this season, barring injury. If Lamb, Cooks, Gallup all remain fairly healthy, you've got Ferguson and Schoonmaker, who I think are going to be your 2 tight ends, and I think they'll continue to run a healthy amount of 12 personnel because it's one of the most productive personnel sets to pass out of. You're talking about Tolbert, and then you got Deuce Vaughn and Tony Pollard. You're talking about Tolbert being so far down the totem pole that it'll have to be injuries for him to be productive. So I don't think he'll contribute that much. Don't think he'll contribute that much. How many more we got here? Okay, we got a few more here. Let's get Marcus, and then we'll read these next 2. What's good, Marcus? How you doing, man?
Hey, man, happy Friday, Sky. How you
Yes,
doing,
sir? Yes, sir. I'm good, man.
Man, I swear, you must be some kind of a mind reader. You just answered my question for me. You just answered my question for me. It was going to be about, leveraging. What did you have an idea of how the position groups were going to shake out in terms of what the game plan and what the way they would deploy the offense, how they would shake out? Would they be in more 12 personnel?
Gotcha.
Would they be in would they be in more 3? Would they do 3-1? All of those things you were talking about with the analytics guy, and stuff like that. But I guess my question, I was only going to ask the question was, did you see the team leaning more towards using 2 backs or 2 tight ends more often than 3 wide receivers? Because again, it's going to be an interesting camp in that. So philosophically, I think that they are going to be maybe playing things a little bit more closer to the vest. They aren't going to be spreading people out as much, even though they're going to look a lot more diverse. So I was just wondering what you thought about that. You kind of answered the question already. You thought that they would run 2 tight end sets more often, and that kind of takes the wide receiver off the field.
Well, they did it a lot last year. They were one of the top teams in running 12 personnel. I think them and most of the league, 11 personnel is going to be your most used set. That's just the way of the NFL now. It is the 11 personnel, and it's interesting, right? Because look, in 11, you can actually, if you have a solid offensive line, you can actually run better out of 11 because you're taking a linebacker off and you're creating. You should be creating a lighter box. If not, then now you got the advantage numbers wise on the outside. But in 12, you can pass better out of it if you've got adequate tight ends, because now you're putting more bigger guys out there that really are a mismatch advantage against, solid tight ends or running back out the backfield. So that's why you see the league, they're better. The most successful passing personnel is 12. And it was for the Cowboys for a couple seasons. And for running wise, it was 11. So I think they'll continue to be an 11 personnel team, like most teams in the league, most, not all. But 12, I think, will be more of a prominent. And they were a 12 personnel team last year, and they wanted to be a couple years ago. Then what's his name? Jarwin got hurt, and once Jarwin got hurt, that affected what they wanted to do. So I definitely see them being 11 and 12, I think is going to be their mainstays. The tricky part could be if Hunter Lipke can be something,
Exactly.
they can run
Exactly.
some variations of two running back sets. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was going to get to with Nipsey. I think everybody's kind of hit on that with him. And you said it a couple of times. He could be like Juszczyk in San Francisco is.
I think so.
I think you can line up. Yeah, I think you can line up Nipsey as a tight end / running back, flank or anything. I think to get that same. Even though you're calling it a two-back set, you could run a 2-1 look out there. You could run a 1-2 look.
I would 100% steal Shanahan's plays with Juszczyk. Seriously, I found myself yesterday, and I don't know why I subjected my son to this, but I found myself yesterday. I said, let me go watch a little bit of this game, the Niners game. I was watching San Francisco, and I just was in awe of how many times they had Juszczyk out there. And their play action just sucked our entire offensive line and linebackers to the right. And he had all this room to just get a playoff. Now, it didn't always happen. The coverage, on the back end was good enough and you could get a sack or a throwaway. But I'm like, man, all their formations, either they're running out of that or they're play action out of that. And Juszczyk is involved. So I'm like, I would go right to that game and I'm still in half of those plays with Hunter Lipke on the field. Seriously.
Exactly. Yeah, especially if he's anything like that pass catcher he was in college, then I would find a way to get him on the field, and that way you got Ferguson, you've got the draft pick. You don't have to bring the draft pick along as quickly. If Lipke is any kind of pass receiver and can block, I think that's the thing with it. We won't know until camp. We got to see how well he blocks. He's not going to have to be a road grade blocker as Nipsey is, but hey man, if he can get out there and he can get in people's way, and for some reason I just get a Tom Rathman feel. You remember Tom Rathman back with the 49ers back in the day?
Tom who?
I get that kind of Tom Rathman with the 49ers. You don't remember him? That maybe before your time back in the 80s. Tom Rathman was a fullback for the 49ers back in the 1980s with played for Joe Montana. And they ran a lot of two-back sets. Rathman, that's when fullbacks were used more often.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what Tom Rathman was. He was a guy that you got him the ball in space. He could run it a little bit too, but he was a good run-after-catch guy. They ran a lot of pass plays with him. And, they just had so many ways, those 49er teams, to beat you. I had a lot of respect for that. Even though I hated when they beat the Cowboys, I had a lot of respect for how they played. And so I'm just really interested in seeing that. And just a quick thing, I hope on Dak, and I'll be done. Him, buying or selling on him, I think it's going to hinge largely again on what they're going to ask him to do in this new offensive scheme. And we talked a little bit about before when Bill Walsh had Joe Montana early in his career. I think like after the second season, he took Montana aside. And this whole thing about arm talent, I think that's way overblown in the league. It can be impressive, but that's not what wins. Decision-making wins, and that's decision-making from the OC and from the quarterback. And long story short, Walsh did something with Montana where there were certain plays where Montana couldn't make the throw, and mostly it was an out play, an out route on the receiver. Montana just did not have the arm strength. Montana couldn't throw the ball 50 yards down the field. But he can anticipate. He was very accurate. So it was never that he made the wrong read, and Bill Walsh said that. He said it was never that Joe made the wrong read. He just couldn't make that throw on the out. It didn't matter how much he anticipated the throw coming. Didn't matter how quickly he got his hips turned towards either the left or the right to make the throw. He couldn't get the ball out there quick enough. So sometimes it would flutter. It would be picked off. It would be either something would happen. So Walsh just took that out route out of the offense. And if you go back and look at some of the tape, you don't see Joe Montana throwing it out because that's not a throw he can make. And
let me ask you a question.
Are
you from the West Coast?
No, man. I'm Houston, Texas. I'm from Dallas, born and bred. I love football. Football.
No, I was just curious because you're using a lot of the 49ers references, and I'm like, I wonder if he was either a 49er fan back in the day or watched a lot of them out. Seriously. Just out of curiosity there. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, man, I love success is what I do. I watch.
Yeah, I root for greatness too. People hated Tom Brady. I was like, I don't hate Tom Brady. That's greatness. I like to watch greatness.
Yeah, that's greatness. I'm a fan of guys that can do it. People say they hate. You know, they want a new winner every year. No, man, I want you to be. If that guy is doing it every year, he's doing something right. I like guys that you have to go and beat. I don't like these one-hit wonders, and I don't like any of that. I like guys that are successful, and those guys tend to be consistent. You're going to be much more successful more often if you're consistent than you are waiting for some kind of pie in the sky thing to happen. But long story short, Dak, hopefully they do some things with Dak where and I haven't seen a throw that Dak can't make.
Yeah, I was going to say that earlier when you brought up arm talent. I mean, he can make all the throws. That's not the – I love what you said. Decision-making is what gets you where you need to be. Yeah. I 100% agree with that.
Yeah, so hopefully that's what goes on with the offense. Again, have a good weekend, man. Thank you, Sky, for taking my call. I'm rooting for Hunter Nifty, man, because I'm old school. If you got a fullback on the field, hey, I'm with that. I'm just old school with it.
I don't appreciate you, man. I don't mind the fullback on the field. I just don't want it to be the old school approach. I want it to be with the new school approach, the Hunter or the Kyle Juszczyk. I don't want the Moose Johnson of the world. I want the Hunter. I'm sorry. I want the Kyle Juszczyks of the world if we're going to use a fullback. And I thought that's what we were going to do with Jameez Olawale, those years ago. But Kellen Moore that's not. He didn't want a fullback. I think that was 2019. I think that was Jason Garrett still there. Jason Garrett wanted, Keith Davis brought in Olawale, and that was the first year of Kellen Moore. Kellen Moore, like fullback. What are you talking about, man? We run 11 over here. We spread things out, no system, So there's no fullback. Where McCarthy knows how to utilize a fullback in a multitude of ways, so or H-back or whatever. So I don't mind it. Just we can't. This isn't no I formation 1992. That's all I'm saying. And matter of fact, let's go ahead and finish these out because we've been talking about Hunter Lipke a lot, and Hunter Lipke is actually the last question we'll get to here. M4160 said, "Do you think our linebacker core is the weakest link on defense that can possibly expose us?" I mean, I think it is the weakest link, specifically the depth, and I think that's where the exposing thing could come. I don't think the Cowboys can be exposed with the starters. Sky, you think the starters are amazing? No, I'm not saying they're amazing, right? Like Clark is obviously a young kid that still is getting better. LVE is what he is, very dependent on what's happening in front of him. But because of what they've done up front from an interior standpoint and going into year 3 in Dan Quinn's defense, I definitely think Clark and LVE can be very, very much adequate enough to have one of the best defenses in the league. But if they get hurt, then I think there could be potentially you could be exposed because now you're relying on guys that just don't have the experience out there, and that could get you in a little bit of trouble. So, yeah, I mean, I think it is the weakest link, and it could potentially expose you, but only depth-wise. Now, they go out there and they go get a couple veteran guys like a Deion Jones, whatever, that could change. Monte Murdoch. What percentage of mental to physical does it take to be a good NFL player? I'm gonna let my guy Zotek handle this question for y'all.
Brett, you're in big trouble. How come? Damn! Cause football, 80% mental and 40% physical. What?
80% mental, 40% physical. Don't ask me to explain it. Zotek said it. When I saw this question, I actually was going to reach out to a couple of my former NFL player friends and ask them because I don't know. I wasn't in the NFL, man. No, sir. I wasn't in the NFL. But Zotek got the answer.
Brett, you're in big trouble. How come? Damn! Cause football, 80% mental and 40% physical. What?
Spike don't play with girls. Oh, man, I had to drop that. one of my favorite movies of all time. I just had my youngest watch it for the first time. And when I saw the question, I said, man, the universe is crazy. I just watched the movie a few days ago, and then I get this question. Perfect timing. And then Dwayne Barber says, do you believe Dak should start seeing competition? And if Hunter Lipke is grown man ready, he should get short yardage reps. Should he get short yardage reps is the question. I don't, if you have a franchise quarterback, it's a oxymoron. Dak Prescott's a franchise quarterback. You don't bring in competition for a franchise quarterback because now you're splitting reps. In practice, you're splitting reps in games and what have you. And that's just, you don't do that. Your quarterback is the one position that if you have multiple quarterbacks, you don't have a quarterback. So no, I don't agree with, or I don't believe he should start seeing competition. With who? Cooper Rush? Cam Newton? You gonna go sign? Who's the competition for Dak Prescott? There is nobody available for competition for Dak Prescott. And the minute you try to start a competition at a quarterback position, you don't have a quarterback. So no, if he doesn't get it done this year, and the question above said if he's bad or whatever, I think it was, what did he say? Let me see. If Dak Prescott does not perform well, if Dak Prescott does not perform well in the playoffs, then you start to begin the process of moving on so that next quarterback can have all those reps, get that experience, have the, you call it pressure, whatever you want to call it. But he's the guy, so we can start building around that guy and keep it moving. But if you're in a situation where you're the Washington football people, when you're the who name a team, the Jets that had all that weirdness going on over there with their quarterbacks, you are in football purgatory. You are in quarterback purgatory. You will not go far, and you might as well blow the whole damn thing up and figure it out. Because if you don't have a franchise guy and you got multiple 2-3 dudes that are competing for the quarterback spot, you ain't got one. 49ers, perfect example. 49ers right now, Sam Darnold, Brock Purdy, Trey Lance. Do you want that situation? I don't. So he's your franchise. I don't know what we're gonna bring him in and split first team reps. That's a terrible idea. If Hunter Lipke is a grown man ready, should he get short yardage reps? Absolutely. Hunter Lipke, if he shows that I can do the short yardage stuff, I think a lot of people that are clamoring for Zeke to come back will probably go by the wayside there. So if he's grown man ready and he can do those things, because Hunter Lipke can be a very interesting wild card, man. Because if he can catch out the backfield, block for you like a true fullback, do some H-back things, and get your short yardage stuff, you could argue he'd be more versatile than some of these veteran backs on the market. Because I'm not asking him to be the lead back. I'm asking him to complement my backs in the room for an undrafted free agent price where I don't have to deal with politics. And that's not just with the Zeke, but if you bring in a Dalvin Cook or what have you, you're probably going to deal with some type of politics because, hey, look, they're good players, But Hunter Lipke, if he's grown man ready, come on, man, put it on. Let's do it. All right, 8:08, and then we're going to lock up these lines. Read some super chats and head on out, man. What's good, 808 Heartbreak?
Hey, what's up, brother? Still happy Friday, man.
Yes, sir. Happy Friday, man. How you doing?
Can you hear me loud and clear?
Loud and clear.
Nice. Hey, man, what's going on? It hurts my heart a little bit to hear that you're going to be gone the next week, but happy for you. You're going to get to a vacation, man. It's just, these dry months, man. It's brutal out here, especially when you got to deal with networks.
Yeah, the kind of catch-22. It's the only time for those who do this full time. It's the only time for us to kind of catch a break, and that's why you see like the Cowboys staff, they're gone for that month because that's the one month they can have off. And it's kind of the same thing for I don't work for the Cowboys, but I cover them just as intently. And it's just the only time you got, man, because once, training camp gets here, it's full go until after the draft. So.
Yeah, no, I got you. Hey, well deserved though, man. You're one of the hardest workers out here. I see covering the Cowboys, man. You deserve a break when you need it and stuff. So, like, I ain't gonna take anything from you.
Appreciate that, brother.
But yeah, no, what you call? I was watching. I was late to the show yesterday. I was gonna get a call in,
okay.
But I was a little. Ended up catching the back end of you and Marv's conversation.
Me and Marv was having. Look, you got to take me and Marv's conversations with a grain of salt sometimes, because we both push each other. You know, I do it on purpose sometimes because I know I'm gonna get Marv riled up. But we be having some fun. But which part of the conversation did you catch?
I was catching. He was bringing up the training camp and what he said from before. I'm glad I found out you guys knew each other.
Oh yeah.
You guys. This would have been perfect. One of those Hattie B advertisements, man. Tell them about the hottest flavor. You go over there and tell them shut the.
Marv almost weekly has a Hattie B's hot take. Yeah.
Yeah, no, but which call? I don't know. I said a whole bunch of out of pocket stuff, and when he said the underdog stuff, I was like, yeah, no, it makes a whole lot of sense why he's thinking all those things.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the main question I came here for. I was watching over I think it was 105.3 The Fan, and watching Broadus and them just talk about the best players in the NFC East. And I'm not going to talk about what they was talking about. I kind of formulated my own questions and stuff. Is out of the players we have, like rising stars, whoever it may be to you, who can we not afford to stay the same? Like, regardless if it's regress or not, all type of stuff, who do we need to get better and take the next step in their skill level? And I was talking to with some of my other Cowboy fans and stuff that we have our discussions with, and then I didn't realize it. And someone brought up Micah Parsons, and I was just all like, Michael Parsons, Micah. He's all like, yeah, but he thinks we need Micah to take the next step, not just be a little bit better. He thinks he needs to take a huge step, and it's a lot to ask for, but that's kind of what we need to win. And I was like, I don't know, I think it was a little controversial. Do we need Micah to take a huge next step to win a championship?
I mean, he's so young, right? Like, he only has 2 years in the league, so you could argue there is still room. Like, I don't think he's even hit his prime yet. He's maybe in his physical prime, but I don't think he's hit his prime as a player. So I don't know that you need him to do it, but I think there's room for him to do it. And if he does, that's scary. You know what I'm saying? But
yeah,
I don't think it's Micah. I wouldn't say Micah. No. I think the easy answer would be Dak, but we've seen Dak take it's last year wasn't his best year. So we've seen him have better years. So we've seen him be 37, touchdown guy, high completion percentage guy, 30 plus touchdown. We've seen that. So technically you can say you don't want him to remain the same as last year, but there's so much context that goes into it. So it's easy to say Dak. You definitely need him to be better this year, right? But I'd imagine you were looking for a more interesting answer than Dak. That's a good question. Tyron? I think Tyron would be.
Oh,
Tyron. Yeah.
That's what I was about to lead to. I was going to say, it's like not a lot of people, I don't think they would have brought this up because Dak, honestly, I know the interception things, a lot of it, miscommunication, all the other Cowboys, the networks, they're low-hanging fruit, just like you said. They're going to say nothing, everything without any football knowledge. But
yeah,
I was going to bring up Tyron. I was like, honestly, I feel like the most important piece on our offense is Tyron. Because the only question mark in terms of our starters, obviously. I believe Tony Pollard is going to make statements and everything else. But if Tyron's not a question mark, if he can last the whole time and be better, ooh.
And the reason why I say Tyron is because over the last 3 seasons, he's progressively taken steps back from a health standpoint, which obviously hurts his on-field play, So if he can take that step look, I'm not asking him to play 14, 15 games, but if we can get 12 games out of Tyron at the right time, and in those 12 games, I know it's going to be hard to say Tyron healthy because even him playing, he's not always healthy. But if we can get 12, 13 games out of Tyron and he's a healthy Tyron, that could definitely change a lot for you heading into the playoffs because you haven't had a healthy Tyron in the playoffs since, 2018?
Yeah. No, I got you. And then also, I'm going to stay off with this. I don't know. I was hearing you guys talk about, because I missed one of your shows too. I heard you guys talk about the cornerback room and the DBs and Kelvin Joseph and all these guys. But honestly, I keep on hearing this take about let go of Jordan Lewis. And I've never been able to talk in the show and reference it. But, I feel like we haven't learned our lessons as a fan base. I was like, have you not seen us struggle with depth and even talent before us?
Yeah.
So I was like, why are we going to pay $6 million to receive $6 million to become a question mark again? You know what I mean? You want to live through that again through this season? With all the question marks we have with our O-line and all that type of stuff, do you think we should go of Jordan Lewis and stuff if it means developing other pieces like Scott and them?
No, this is the year, and again, maybe me and Vaughn can go more in depth on this in a minute, but this is the year for me personally. I'm willing to sacrifice development to win the whole damn thing. So, I'm willing to keep around a guy like Jordan Lewis to sacrifice a rookie development year for an Eric Scott, because I know Jordan Lewis can hold down the fort if he needs to go in there and play slot or something like that. So I'm trying to keep as much quality depth as possible to win 6, because I'm noticing over the years you're going to need that depth throughout the season at some point, and potentially in the postseason you're going to need that depth. So I'm not cutting that without seeing if it's cuttable. It's July 7th. I'm not cutting a guy like J. Lou until he goes out there and if he fails, then you can make that decision. But too many people were trying to make that decision prior to getting to camp and preseason and seeing what's happening. So I'm trying to keep as much quality depth. I'm not really focused on the development of a 5th, 6th undrafted guy in 2023. I'm focused on trying to develop a top team to win a Super Bowl.
I got you, man. I don't want to take up too much of your time because I know I'm one of the last callers on the show, but it's an off football topic, but I just want to kind of get the type of person you are. So, like 4th of July type question and stuff. You go to a barbecue, man. What's a no for you? What's to say I'm not going to eat here? So a lot of my friends was just talking about this when we was talking about the Cowboys. Somebody said mustard on ribs, he's not going to eat the food. You mean what's your take on what you're not going? What's going to tell you and stuff like that? I'm gonna skip this play.
Honestly, the answer would be who made what. That's one of the first things I'm asking when I get there, unless I know you, right? Like if my man Jawan is listening, I know his folks, so I don't got to ask that question. Like they straight. But if I see something like potato salad, who made the potato salad? I'm not just eating anybody's potato salad. You know what I'm saying? So who made what? Who's on the grill? Can they grill? So that would be my first question when I get there. Mustard on what now? Ribs? Is that what you said?
Nah,
I ain't never heard. Look, I'm not saying I'm a food connoisseur, but I ain't never heard mustard on ribs. Is that like a down south thing or something?
Yeah, no. It's some people use mustard as a binder for their seasonings and stuff. So that's why I was like, I don't know. It's not for me, but I know about it.
All right. That's new to me. I don't do no mustard on ribs. So, I mean, look, it may be good. So I can't talk about the mustard on ribs, but I've never seen anybody put mustard on ribs where I'm from. So.
I got you.
Oh, people are saying to marinate. Okay. See, I'm thinking like you put mustard on ribs and you're eating. They saying no, you put it on as a binder. You're marinating the mustard. Okay. All right. I mean, I guess you don't. Okay.
Yeah, no, for me and stuff, the two biggest things. One, potato salad. I got to see who's making it. So, honestly, if you're under 30, I'm not going to touch it. I need a seasoned veteran up in the potato.
Facts. I need somebody with the open toe sandals, ashy feet, the tucked in, got some shorts on with the tucked in polo, sweating with the towel. You know how they got a little towel over there. I need that making the food. Yeah, I'm with you, bro.
Yeah. All right, brother. Hey, great work, man. I'm sad to hear I'm not going to catch you next week, but at the same time, I'm glad that you're going to get it. So, hey, God bless, man. You have a great day.
Salute, man. Appreciate you. That's a good look. That reminded me of Tyrone's questions. I was going to bring up one of kind of an off-topic question like that. Let me pull this out. Bing. But it was going to be surrounded by there's a viral tweet going around about would you take $1 million or try to go for $5 million, something like that, $10 million if you run for 5 yards with your current offensive line. I was going to do something like that. It seemed a little fun, but that one was better. That one was better, man. Yeah, who is making the potato salad for me? I need to know because I'm not eating anybody's potato salad. And I love potato salad. Just don't put raisins in my ribs. So the mustard on ribs is a thing. All right. Look, I mean, I try it. If y'all talking about is it a thing just marinating or is it a thing like I'm putting mustard on my ribs and I'm eating it? I've never seen that. Chris said this is nuts. Never heard of mustard on ribs. I thought it was a joke. Apparently it's a thing, man. I'm still waiting for Vaughn to let me know where he got that picture that he posted last year where it was the spaghetti, the fish, and what else was it, Vaughn? It was spaghetti and fish and something. And that shit was so damn good, dog. I'm still waiting for that. But whenever he moved to Dallas, we're going to be having a bunch of little cookouts anyway. I'm just waiting for my bro to move to Dallas. I know that is, man. Wait for my bro to move to Dallas, man. Somebody said you can't taste the mustard. This is not a South thing. Oscar said chill with that. Not like a hot dog. Look. That's the beauty of what we do here. We have a lot of different people from all over, and they introduce us to new things. I learned different things. Yo, so D Schiff, I really want to have this conversation with Vaughn about Keke Palmer because we have these type of conversations off air a lot, in person specifically. And I'm surprised. I know you attacking this on. You should change it to Vaughn says, but Vaughn reacts. I know you're gonna talk about this on Twitch or something. I definitely got to be there for that. Definitely, bro. Because I know you got something to say about that. Let me try to find these super chats real quick. And we're going to get up out of here. Yeah, Chris. The whole Usher thing. Here's my thing about it. Old boy, meaning her, not husband, her baby dad, he shouldn't have went on there and talked about a damn dress. It ain't the dress, bro. Like, there was no shame and coming out and saying, I'm mad because you out there all up on Usher. Fawning over him and all that. Like there's no shame in saying you a little jealous. Everybody gets jealous. That's just a natural thing. And definitely in men, it's a natural thing. But to come out and say it's about a dress and then to air it out publicly, that's where you're wrong. Because you're lying, number one. And then you airing out your lady on Twitter. See, this is I'm born in the wrong era. I've been in a relationship where I've had somebody upset because I'm not all on these social medias posting. I don't do that. No, I am not putting my private life on social media to that extent. Not happening. This is the outcome. People don't really care, number one. And two, they really ain't rooting for you like they say they are or like they portray you are. In regards to that, your failure is more entertaining to them than your success, whether it be relationship or professionally. Me and my lady do this all the time. We joke about people putting their business on these social medias and these Twitters and whatnot. And we be like, man, look, it's season 3 of so-and-so's life, episode 6. You can't stop now. We are invested into, and that's just a natural thing. We are invested into your drama now. We don't care, what happens at the end of the day, but we are invested into your drama because you invited us there. Not me, man. Ain't gonna be knowing how I move. And I digress. See, this is what Vosh, whenever you decide to talk about it, bro, I'm trying to come on there, man. Let's get to these super chats, though. Because we are in overtime, essentially. John Jacob Jingleheimer Phelps. Appreciate you, John Phelps.
Super chat.
Oh, this was yesterday. Oh, they're not updating here. And I cannot go back to see the supers. So my bad if you drop some today. They are not allowing me to go back. I know I saw one earlier. Oh well. It is what it is. Do I still got my? I do not.
It is what it is. It is what it is.
I will get back into this chat before we go. Yeah, so over it. They absolutely do the most, man. But here's the funny thing. Somebody said in the comments on Twitter, they've been killing this dude. Somebody said, "Don't leave a girl around me, true player for real." That's my for real. Usher told us, you know. Usher told us, man. Yeah, I don't see nothing wrong with being jealous of what happened, but look, dog, I'm not about to come on here and lie. Yeah, I don't like the dress. He probably didn't like the dress, but it ain't the dress, dog. We know what it is. Oh, you gonna do it tonight, Voch? All right, cool. Send me the link. Voch said he talking about it tonight. Send me the link. I'm trying to see what that's about. Breaking news, Voch is moving to Dallas. I'm waiting, man. I kind of spilled the beans a little bit, Voch. I told him we trying to do this in live show that is similar to 85 South, Joe Budden podcast, things like that. So I kind of told him yesterday that we want to do that. So, and the new media thing we talked about a couple weeks ago, reached out to Law. He showed me the spot. That might be a thing after camp. So, old boy wouldn't care if he was going to Anita Baker concert. Facts. Don't lie. That's all. You didn't have to go out there and lie, dog. You would have way more people on your side because you do got people saying, "Hey, I feel you in this aspect." But a dress, you ain't gotta lie, Craig. Nuance world order. We gotta get that too. All right, man. Let me get up out of here because we definitely going into the whole pop culture thing, which I don't mind from time to time. But I'll be on here for a whole nother hour if we talk about that more often. Appreciate you guys rocking with me on this short week. I'll reiterate it here. Won't be here next week if you are just somehow dropping in. Won't be here next week, but the following week, let me pull up this calendar. I'll be back the following week, the week of the 17th, as we ramp up for training camp. And then both shows will be back July 24th. When I say both, I mean my show in the morning and then Voch Lombardi live over on the volume. And we are gearing up for camp, man. Believe it or not, we are 17 days away from the start of the week of camp. And I believe the first practice is the 25th or 26th. So about roughly 18 days away. Yeah. It's creeping up, man. It's creeping up. So hit the like button on the way out if you enjoyed today's show. And then hit that sub button if you're new. Share the content to your Cowboys friends and family. Because I'm telling you right now, you're not going to get these detailed, context-related, quality conversations. Not right now. Not over the next month on the networks. That's just not happening. You know, and I just find it hilarious as I talked about that on Tuesday or whatever it was, Wednesday. The very same day we saw the whole viral thing going around from that F show. And then this morning I see the same thing. They're talking about two things. Dak, McCarthy. Every single time. So if you want the low-hanging fruit, you want the kind of boring stuff, yeah, you can go there for sure. But if you want to get into the nitty-gritty of your Cowboys, this is where you need to be. You need to show and support your content creator friends love, and just be here. Even if you don't like what we say, I guarantee you're going to get more here than you're going to get on those networks. That's just a fact. That's just a fact, man. I'm going to hit this button and get up out of here. Hey, Splendid Poppy. I think I might have to hit up the Cocker Farm, dog. I'm still dealing with that hit and run. I'm thinking about taking action a little bit. I'm thinking about taking some action. We out of here, man. Love you, Cowboys Nation, including Cowboy fan haters too. Peace.
Squad!